La Brea Bakery artisan breads are crafted with premium ingredients, using their original sourdough starter from 1989 for better crunch, better flavor, and better bread. From starter to finish.
All right. Hello, all. Welcome. I'm Chloe Riley, Executive Editor of Supermarket News. And today we have the very delightful Michael Eardley, former President and CEO of IDDBA, joining us before this weekend's big IDDBA show in Houston, Texas. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
And where are you joining us from today, Michael?
Well, today I am on Barlow Lake in southwestern Lower Michigan, enjoying myself at my summer home.
Oh, that sounds extremely delightful. I'm not too far away from you. I'm in Woodstock, Illinois, which, yeah, it's a Midwest.
Down to Houston and enjoying the warm weather soon.
Yeah, we're going to be in the 90s pretty soon here. Now, Michael, you're being honored this weekend at the show during the Champions of Change Awards, which are actually co-presented by IDDBA and Supermarket News. So you're going to be receiving the Legacy of Excellence Award. I know you just retired from your leadership role at IDDBA last year. Why don't you tell us just a little bit of highlights from your career, as well as just how you're seeing the industry evolving, having just stepped down and still kind of keeping an eye on things.
Well, I kind of think that my legacy is really that I've been around for a long, long time, but I've had a wonderful career and I've had fantastic opportunities in the community of Deli Bakery. I worked retail for over 43 years up in Michigan with a smaller independent, and then I spent 13 years with HEB down in Texas, heading up their deli, cheese, and prepared foods departments. I then had the opportunity to go to IDDBA. I had been serving on their board for a number of years. And back in 2014, we had the unfortunate occurrence of Carol Christensen's passing. Carol was the second president ever of IDDBA. And the board asked me to step in and replace her at her untimely death. So I did that, and we had a great time building up the staff in Madison, Wisconsin to bring the community together. And it's been quite a wild 9 years. Not only did we have the change that was happening in our industry and the change of not having Carol there after 30 plus years, but we ran into the pandemic, which really shut down associations and meetings and gatherings of people, which was really a change for our industry and a change for our people. It's exciting to me that we're going to be back down in Houston this weekend, seeing all the people that make up this industry. And really, those people are the highlight of everything. In grocery stores, there's products, there's commodities, but in deli, and bakery, we really are made up of the people who are interested in creating a future and a service for their customers. So that's been really the funnest thing for it. I watched deli grow at retail from when I started about an 8-foot case at the end of a meat department to today's multifunctional departments that are teaching customers how to eat food differently, entertain differently, and taste foods from around the world. So it's been pretty fun.
I like that. Oh my gosh. And absolutely with deli. I mean, ever since the pandemic, even probably before the pandemic, but whoa, that seemed like it accelerated during and after the pandemic, with prepared foods and everything. And people just, feeling tired of the grudgery of making dinner every day,
It's amazing to see what has happened to our departments when you think about charcuterie used to be a specialty item, and now consumers not only have it for entertaining, they'll have it for dinner. And the support of meats, cheeses, breads, and specialty accoutrements on top of that really it's a meal that fits today's home.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so true. When you said that for eating charcuterie for dinner, I thought of girl dinner, which I don't know if you've heard of that term, but it's The social media phenomenon of evidently girls like eating, they like to put together a little plate of meats and almonds and, cheese and like popcorn and call it dinner. So I was just talking with somebody about that the other day. I think that is very funny. And I myself participate in girl dinner periodically. So
I've been accused of serving it by my daughter, who lives with me most of the time, and she'll come out, and we'll have all of a sudden there'll be 5 plates of cheese and 3 plates of different meats and little fruits and vegetables, and she says, "This is dinner. You don't even have to cook."
girl dinner, not just a trend on social media. It does exist in real life. That's funny.
Yes, it does.
Well, I thought it would be fun to walk through, just a couple of the latest trends in dairy, deli, and bakery. I figured we could start with dairy. So I feel like we're seeing a bunch of interesting trends in dairy, dairy kind of overall, even though, sales of plant-based, milks kind of in air quotations, since it's not traditional dairy, have been hot this past year. I know we're also seeing a big demand for whole milk and kind of a resurgence there. Why do you feel like we're seeing, where is that coming from? Sort of this demand from whole milk, or, you'd have more of a sense of the trajectory of that over the years, how people have felt about drinking whole milk or buying it.
That's an interesting one, and I don't have the numbers here, but I'll tell you, I saw reports coming from Europe going back 6 years ago about how whole milk was coming back in Europe and how people didn't want to have low-fat milk. And I think the bigger trend that's controlling that is people want food that tastes good. They're eating less, but they're eating better. And I think that plays very well into dairy, deli, and bakery, because we don't just sell the commodity product. We sell the product that tastes good and is good for you. And I'd much rather have a small glass of whole milk than a half a gallon of low-fat milk. And I think that's what people go for. They see that, that it isn't just a fat intake. It's really total calories. And when you feel better about your food, you're going to be more active and you're going to burn those calories off. So I think it's a bigger trend than just whole milk, but I think it's a trend of people want to have food that really does taste great.
Yeah, no, I totally see that too. I was just being at the National Restaurant Show recently, and seeing kind of a proliferation of, there's always, the plant-based meats are still there. I feel like that's still, still a thing that we're seeing, but I was also seeing and observing a lot more of the, meats advertising no nitrates, like, farm raised. I know that's kind of been around before, but it really felt like there was kind of a, sort of a like a boost of that at the show, seeing a lot more of people using that kind of language and kind of pushing products that had sort of that more better for you quality to them.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be those trends, and there's always going to be that change. People are going to bring new things. Certainly one of the hot items at the IDDBA show is always the new product showcase, which I would highly advise everyone to make a first stop there, because you can see products on display just as new versus being on the floor where you're overwhelmed by this just celebration of food everywhere. You might miss a lot of items if you're just out on the floor, but when you look at that new item showcase, all of a sudden you start seeing those trends. I think plant-based will always have a place. I think people will always be looking to try something new and see what it is, but the common denominator is always going to come back. Hey, is it really good? And does it taste good? Can I have an emotional commitment to this food? And when it does, I think it'll sell well. So I think customers are always wanting to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I totally see that too. I was going to say, we're talking about better for you kind of stuff. Anecdotally, I feel like I'm seeing more both private label ice cream out there. Walmart just had its Better Goods line, and I know they were highlighting that younger people are more drawn to the Better Goods versus their other private label in terms of like ice cream and dessert. And then, Associated Wholesale Grocers, I think, also just rolled out a new private label ice cream, new ice cream flavors. I was going to say, let's talk about both better for you and private label and dairy. How can grocers maybe be leveraging both of those things smartly within the category, or so what are some of the opportunities there?
A dear friend of mine works in private label with Kroger, and I remember sending him an email when I was in Madison, and I don't eat a lot of ice cream. I'd like to, but I don't. I'm really at that age where I can't eat so much of it. But I went into one of the stores, and I just had that feeling that I had to have some, and I bought one of the Kroger upend ice creams, and it was phenomenal. It was just a wonderful, wonderful flavor product. And so I sent my friend a note and said, "Boy, you've got to be really, really proud of this item. Why aren't you telling the story out here? I mean, this is for people like me who aren't going to eat a half gallon. We can go out and get that pint." And this was delicious. And I think that you're seeing that in a lot of people. The fact that you talk about both independents and all the way to Walmart, you're kind of at both ends of the spectrum. The customer is saying, "I want that product." And I think that that's what can bring people back to being excited in the grocery store, in the supermarket. I mean, I think people want to be home more than they do in restaurants now, and having those wonderful foods and wonderful experiences. I mean, ice cream is entertaining, much like what we were talking about girls' dinner. And I mean, having that decadent flavor and a little bit of it is really healthier for us all. So I
Nice.
totally agree with you.
Yeah. So also it sounds like you're saying it's really about telling that story. And if you've got the product and if you're investing in private label, then, kind of shout it from the rooftops, it sounds like.
I think that's a big outline, and I think if you hear the folks up on stage, I think you'll hear Heather talking about that a lot at What's in Store. Telling the story is so key for our future.
I want to switch back over and talk about Deli, since we kind of kicked off this conversation with a little Deli talk. But yeah, I feel, in Deli, we were just talking about this, I feel like we're not really seeing a slowdown when it comes to deli prepared foods. I know one analyst we spoke with recently says he sees rising interest in, low salt, the plant-based that we were just talking about, vegetarian options. And he expects, that to keep trending up in 2024. I wanted to see does that track with any of kind of what you're seeing or hearing from people in the industry, or are you hearing maybe that other things are going to be popular, are going to be trending?
Well, first of all, I've got lots of opinions, and most of the people who've worked with me would tell you strongly held opinions. So I have lots of opinions and outlooks, but really the data points, I want to give Heather and Anne-Marie Roerink a little attention for their 8:30 on Sunday presentation, and IDDBA's focus on having their integrated fresh data. That product is now available online and in the app. So anytime you want to see how something's selling, if you're a member of IDDBA, you can get on the app and you can actually see monthly updates on what's happening on category all the way down to SKU level. So it's some amazing information. And on Sunday, both Heather and Anne-Marie Roerink from 210 Analytics, they're going to be telling you not just the data, but they're going to tell you what it means and what it portends for our future. And I think that those two are so phenomenally strong at not just throwing out the number, but throwing out what it means and what it means to us working in a store and selling to the consumer. So those are the people you really have to see. I do think that there's a real focus here, and we kind of broke into it a little bit. Entertaining is huge, and all of our products align to entertaining. For years, Deli has struggled a little bit getting what I call on the shopping list. It's not where a person who's building their shopping list just writes, "Oh, I need this from here." So our challenge was always, how do we get people to stop in our department and see all these wonderful products we have? Telling the story is certainly part of that, but getting a focus on entertaining and being able to help people entertain and showing them how to utilize the products we have is really the future. Um, I don't always know that people know what they want when they go to a deli. They just want to be wowed. And
Mm,
we've got the products to do that. We've got to have the staff that can help introduce those to our consumers.
nice. I love this idea about being wowed and also having a staff with the knowledge that can kind of support that initial wow and, sell it even further. That's great.
Showing
Um,
people how to utilize is so key.
yeah, yeah. I want to switch over to bakery. And I know that we just wrote a story recently where it feels like what we're hearing is it's all about bread. Consumers are hungry for bread. Bread continues to be a top 5 performer in the bakery section. We've seen, artisan and sliced breads kind of leading the way with that. I wanted to see, is it something you hear as well? Does it mean grocers should be kind of leaning more into their fresh bread offerings or even their center store kind of, the artisan bread offerings they might have in center store?
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think it's good bread. It's got to be artisan bread. It's got to be crusty bread. It's got to be fresh, and it's got to be clean label. Um, the days of selling $1 a loaf bread are, it's just that's not where the trend is. The trend is I got to have something that tastes good. If you saw my shopping list, I have an item on there that says fish food, and the fish food is really that $1.20 loaf of bread. That's what I feed the fish here in my lake. But if I'm going to have great cheese, I'm going to have great bread to support it. We've got not just avocado toast for breakfast. Now we have avocado bread.
Mm,
We have all the different European style breads, the brioches. We've really taken it up a tremendous notch there. But I don't think that's all that bakery is about. I think that there's cakes is still huge, and IDDBA will have its honor to the artists who are decorating cakes out there with their cake presentation and being able to be in a competition. Cakes are still huge and part of celebration, part of entertaining, and I think desserts and decadent desserts, whether it be brownies or pastries or any of the cookies. I mean, those are playing a huge role. So I think, I, from my opinion, those are the areas that people are going for because of this bigger trend. Is I want to spoil myself. I want to have something that tastes good and that I feel good about. And
yeah.
I think that the folks will love that. They'll see a lot of things. Some of the cakes that are on display at IDDBA, the artistry that's out there is just amazing, and you got to stop at those booths.
Oh, that's so I can't wait to stop at those booths and I can't wait to hopefully eat some of this cake. I'm definitely a cake fan. Um, Michael, I was going to say anything else you're looking forward to? I mean, cake, obviously, number one to the show this weekend, but any other things on your radar that people should know about or that you're personally excited about?
Well, I did talk about the new item showcase, and that's a great place to go and get started so you can map your strategy. I'd like to say be careful because if you have too many appointments and you're running back and forth on this huge floor, you'll be so wiped out you're going to miss a lot. So stop at as many booths as you can and do what I call and what's one of the IDDBA's items is cultivating community. Meet the industry, meet the people who are doing a tremendous job. There's no show better than IDDBA at being friendly and focused. Nobody's going to try to put the big hustle on you. They really want to help you and they want to help your customers. So visit those booths and find the story of the products that are out there. There's so many wonderful items out there from the United States and I believe 40 some other countries. So tremendous opportunity to not only, if you're a deli person, make sure you stop and see some bakery products too. If you're a bakery person, make sure you see some dairy products. You'll learn something about our industry, but more than anything, you'll learn about the people who make up our community. And those people are wonderful. And that's really been the exciting part of my career, was to be able to meet the people. And I hope that I have helped at least half as many people as the amount of people who helped me as I grew in my career. You can make a difference for a lot of people. So enjoy yourself, have fun, and go to What's in Store Live and see what IDDBA is pointing out for the future.
Love that. That's great, Michael. Love the sense of let's take away, cultivate the community, and be careful with how many appointments you make sure you wear your comfy shoes, because I tell you what, you're going to do some walking and some running and some meeting of great people. So, don't wear your feet out either. I have made that mistake, and it is not a mistake you want to repeat. You want to wear the comfy shoes. Well, Michael, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate it. And then I was going to say, as a reminder, the IDDBA show is this weekend from June 9th through the 11th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. It'll be nice and hot. It's supposed to be in the 90s. I know I'll be there. Michael will be there as well. So hope to see you all there as well. And take care, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.